Okay, so today we're going to look at how to create a personalized marketing plan for each one of your listings and to go over it with your sellers. First thing you're going to do is go into Brokerment. You're going to go into the company library. So you can see this is where we have all of our documents for the various things. We're going to go into seller documents in the company library since we are talking about something that would be for sellers only. So we're going to go ahead and click in there, and you can see there's several different things that we've created for sellers, but what we're going to do is click on the marketing timeline. That's what we want to go over. Now, once you go in there and you do that, you're going to go ahead and download it so that you can print it out. You can go ahead and email it. You can do whatever you need to do for this. All right. So for us today, we're just going to go ahead and look at it in here. So this is your customized marketing plan based on your needs. This is what you're going to go over with your sellers. Now, I like to do this at listing appointments. And as you can see, there are things that you're going to do today, as in the listing appointment. And then there's things that you're going to schedule out. All of those little blank spaces are your actual schedule. The yellow ones really need to be filled out while you're at the listing appointment. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a really close look at this and see exactly what blanks you're going to be filling in. Okay, so while you're at the listing appointment, you're just going to literally go down the list. Okay, you're going to review the custom sales and marketing plan. That's what you're doing right now. Awesome. Yay, one thing done. Then you're going to go ahead and schedule your professional photography. That's really what starts off the whole thing, because if you don't have professional photographs, you're really kind of sunk. Okay, people are buying their houses online 99% of the time these days. Okay, so we have to be like, first impression is no longer the curb, it's actually going to be the pictures. So your curb appeal is your pictures. So professional photographer. Now, depending on what the status of the house is, what the sellers are wanting, maybe they want to do some landscaping first, maybe they want to do a little more organizing inside the house, maybe they want to get the carpets clean, who knows. But figure out what their timeline is when you can schedule a photographer. Also, you're going to want to go ahead and text or email or phone call or whatever to your photographer to see when they're available so they can schedule that as well. No sense scheduling the photographer if one's not available. So you want to go ahead and get that set. I also like to have like a backup day just in case it's like raining or something that day. I mean, how are you supposed to get like drone photos in the rain? It's not going to look good. Everything's going to look kind of dark and dank and stuff. So make sure you have like a backup plan just in case, okay? Give yourself plenty of time. All right, so you're going to want to go ahead and schedule your professional photographer. All right, so you go ahead and figure out the date for that, pop that in there. Then you're going to go ahead and figure out prepping the house for pro pics. Sometimes it needs a little extra, sometimes it doesn't. You're going to go ahead and figure that out. Now, assisting, staging, final touches, and working with photographer, that's more of a time than a date, but it's key to put that in there because you're going to be communicating this with the sellers and let them know, I'm going to be working with the photographer. I'm going to need to come in here before the photographer gets here. I'm going to make sure that you only have one item on the countertop. That's it. One item on any of the surfaces. I'm going to make sure all the lights are on, the fans are off, all the stuff, okay? And that goes into review video on how to prep the house for photo shoot. You're going to go ahead and give that seller the link to that video, which is on our YouTube channel, Great Expectations Realty. Go ahead and give them that link to that specific video and ask them to look it over before you come and prep the house, because then they can do a lot of the prep beforehand. Some of them just don't know what it is you're wanting them to do, so how are they supposed to do what you want them to do without the communication? So that video should help them immensely. All right, now going further down the list, it normally takes about 24 hours for the photographer to get the pictures back to you. It's not like they do it right at the photography session. They're going to need to do a little bit of lightening up things and cutting off, if they use a fisheye camera, they're going to need to make sure and cut the corners on those, and, just a lot of different stuff that they need to do them. So it normally takes about 24 hours for that to get back. So you want to build that into your timeline as well. So if you notice, all of this stuff is being done 1 week prior, give or take, to the actual listing date. There is some misunderstandings with some sellers that the second they sign with you, the house is going on the market that moment. That's actually a terrible, terrible idea because you don't have time to get professional photography done, which means you're either going to have cell phone pictures, which are basically going to make the house look worse, or you're going to miss all of the opportunities of that first look. Okay, you're going to get the most eyes looking and the most interest looking at the property that first time it hits the market. So you need to make it the best possible. If you have shoddy pictures, it's really going to show up as a shoddy listing, and that's not what you want to do. If you're going to pay for professional pictures, make sure they're the first pictures that people see. Also, you're going to want to have your marketing in place. You're going to want to have brochures. You're going to want to have stuff that people can take with them that really sets that house apart. If you just have a listing where you just print out a black and white of an MLS sheet, okay, if you absolutely have no other choice, fine. But if everybody else is doing that and then your listing has a beautiful brochure with, it has like gorgeous pictures, that's really what's going to stand out when the buyers later sit down with their agent and decide to make an offer on a house. Okay, they're going to see that. So it's not just the before, it's the during and the after. Okay, so make sure that you have all of that expressed. You're also want to go ahead and do a just listed to the area. Why do you need to do that? Why is it in the seller's best interest? Well, maybe there's people that have friends and family that are wanting to move to the neighborhood, and they're like, hey, I would love to have my cousin, who's my bestest friend since elementary school, live just down the street from me. We could have coffee every morning. Okay, cool. Well, if that person gets a just listed postcard, they may actually send it on over to that buyer, and you are going to have a buyer just based on some postcards, which is a fairly inexpensive form of marketing. All right, so you have the postcards sent out, you have the professional pictures. You also need to talk to them about placing a sign on the property with a brochure box. Is that allowed? HOA, yes or no? Figure that out ahead of time. Don't just assume. Installing a lockbox. Okay, are you going to do super? Are you going to do combo? There's pros and cons to both. Within 24 hours of you actually listing the property, you're actually, the listing date, the listing start date, that's when you're going to need to put it into MLS. There's no monkeying about here. So you're not going to put a sign in the yard and 2 weeks later put it in MLS. And you need to explain that to the sellers as well. Okay. Now, as you go further down, you're going to see different things like listing day. All right. So all of this beforehand was all prep. Listing day, you're going to communicate with your seller. And that's why you see those blue seller updates. That means you're going to be talking to the seller on listing day, and you're going to be saying, hey, check out some of the advertising. Are you easily able to find it? It does take a little bit of time to hit Zillow and Realtor.com, about 24 hours. But take a look around and see what you like and what you don't like and where it should go. Hopefully, the feedback is, oh my goodness, the house looks so amazing. And it sounds great. I can't even believe I'm living here. It looks like I want to buy it again. That's what you're really going for. You want the wow factor even for your sellers. Now, once you're done with that, there is some more stuff that you're going to do. You're going to go ahead. Once it's listed, that's when you're really going to hit that online campaign. So you've got your brochures going in the lobby, but you're also going to be posting on YouTube as a featured home. So that means you're going to have a walkthrough video. You've already got a professional video tour. That's going to be up there, but you also want to do a kind of down and dirty, street view kind of thing of a walkthrough. I would suggest go ahead and record that while you're actually out, either before the photographer gets there or after the photographer leaves, because the photographer is going to do a very professional version. That's lovely. I want you to do just a more in-person kind of feel to it, okay? So go ahead and do that on that day, but release it maybe a little bit after the virtual tours and stuff are out there, okay? So I don't want just one or the other. I want both, all right? You're going to go ahead and do some posts to Facebook and Instagram showing that you have this new listing. You're going to encourage people to take a look at it. You're going to do it up to Twitter, TikTok. You're going to send it to Facebook groups, all of that stuff. You're also going to do a Facebook ad campaign using that virtual tour and maybe doing a secondary one as a walkthrough. And you're going to go ahead and send that up north. Now, when I say up north, that means like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Michigan. And you're also going to want to send it out west to California. Why do I name these states specifically? Because that's what U-Haul is saying everybody is moving from to Ocala right now. Literally to specifically Ocala. So if you do a Facebook ad campaign, target those areas because that's where people are coming from and they're actively online shopping for homes. Okay. Now, you're going to go ahead and do the rest of this stuff, but what I normally recommend is Thursday, statistically speaking, is the best day to list a house, okay, to actually hit the market. Okay, so that first weekend, that first Saturday is probably going to be the busiest day for showings. So instead of having your seller okay this showing or okay that showing, and then they're waiting for this person, then they're corralling the dog for that person, oh this person didn't show up, didn't even tell them. Okay, instead of doing all that, just say, look, I'm gonna do like a 3-hour open house that first Saturday. Y'all go to the movies, enjoy yourselves, and I'm going to encourage as many realtors as possible and as many buyers as possible to come during that window so that it's the least amount of irritation for you guys as possible. That's what I recommend. Do you have to do that? No. But, think about it. Use it as a consideration for them. And explain yourself. Explain that it's going to be busy that day and it's going to be a little crazy. Hopefully, if you did everything right. If it's priced right, looks great, got professional photography, got some, marketing going on, you should have a lot of people coming to the house to look at it on that first Saturday. So schedule your open house. And that's where you're really going to want to go through these additional things for the open house because you've already done your first onslaught, your first wave of marketing saying that it's a fresh new listing, take a look. The second wave is going to be your first open house, okay? Not only is it, of course, an open house and it's going to be great for the sellers because they're not going to be, having to worry about people coming, people going, are they showing up here, are they showing up there, or whatever. They're also going to have an additional excuse to get it back out in front of people. So instead of having, another wave of here it's a new listing because it's no longer that, you're going to have a new wave, open house, open house, open house. Take a look at this listing because it's an open house. So there's a lot more avenues for showing that in the digital world if you're doing an open house. So that's definitely why you want to go ahead and do that. During the open house itself, of course, you're going to want to update your website for it, but the open house itself is great for people that are actually showing up, but it's also, when there's nobody there, a really fantastic time for you to do a post or a Facebook live or a YouTube live or TikTok live or preferably all of them during it, showing that you are having an open house. So do all of that stuff. Just literally go down the list, preparing for the open house and then actually doing the open house. Okay. Now, a lot of people get caught up on the goodie bags and the cookies and the stuff for the open house. You've already got professional brochures sitting there and you've already got a lot of marketing going on, showing the inside of the house and stuff. So really the goodie bags, I don't want you to go like crazy overboard, okay? I've done mimosas and sandwiches and broker opens and stuff like that, but generally it's going to be for the people that are coming in and really want to go shopping for a house. They really aren't shopping for cookies and stuff, okay? So goodie bags is great. It keeps you top of mind. Maybe give them some, free pens and stuff like that in it, your business card, obviously, and a brochure or maybe something small like one of the postcards you created for them to recognize which house they were in and the information on the house itself. I would definitely include a MLS sheet inside of the brochure for those because they've come into the house, they've scheduled their time to come. That means that they want more information on the house besides just pictures. So square footage, year built, all of that stuff should be in there. Taxes that they're currently being paid on it, that kind of stuff. So go ahead and include that in the brochure. You want to get all of those questions answered because these are legitimately people that are considering purchasing the home or they're ready, willing, and able to purchase a home. Okay, now you have been doing everything you can. You're doing your open houses, you're doing your seller updates, you're giving them feedback, all of this stuff. What if it's still not sold? What are you going to do? Do more open houses? Well, I think it's a really good time to go ahead and look at the property and check and see what kind of feedback you've had, and maybe talk to the seller about doing some minor upgrades, maybe increasing the curb appeal of the property. Maybe you're getting people there, but then once they see it, they're like, this is a little dated. Okay, so maybe there's some things that you can do. Talk to the seller. Inexpensive things. Maybe you need to do something expensive like a new roof. Talk to the seller and see what you can do to increase the curb appeal, increase the interest in the property. You can market all you want, but if it's not looking that great, or if it needs a lot of work, it's going to be a really tough sale. So a lot of agents will skip down to the end and they'll go to adjust the price in MLS. No, you want to go ahead and look and see if there's something small that you can do to the house in order to increase that interest before you get down there. But if you've done that, or if they're not willing to, or any of that stuff, and you still haven't got it to the sold button yet, then you're going to go ahead and talk to them about adjusting the price. Okay. Once you adjust the price, guess what? Then you get to go back and go ahead and do more open houses, and also do the price reduction, do all of the price reduction and show that you've reduced the price. It's just another way to get interest in there. And then you can continue to go right back up there, start up there and come down, start up there and come down. Just do that right side over and over again until you get all the way to the goal, which is actually getting it sold. And don't forget, at the bottom of the page, there's also this really great area where you can do some other marketing and some other options that the seller may want. So this is your marketing plan. Hopefully it helped you. If you have any questions, don't forget to reach out. I'm here for you all the time.